You ever catch that feeling in your gut when the grind of a Lions camp meets the chill of a Detroit morning? Like the whole city's holding its breath, just waiting for something, anything, to break that stubborn streak of bad news? You know the drill. Guys get hurt before the pads even hit, and suddenly every edge rusher we counted on feels like a ghost ticking on the injury report. The body of this team gets battered early and often, and you can nearly hear the echoes of last season's wild-card heartbreak digging in deeper behind those steely blue eyes of Dan Campbell. It's August in Motor City. The palms may not be swaying, but the pressure sure is, because every snap loss on defense feels like a crack in the foundation. And just like every grizzled Lion fan knows, you can't be a Michigan winter without a little frostbite. It's the game we signed up for. But imagine leaning over a shadow bar after work, mid-cold brew, when a regular the kind who's known every playbook from Barry Sanders' cutbacks to the Caldwell firestorm drops a hint. Like a grenade. Something big is moving with the defense. He leans in, voice low with that Detroit grit. Wait till you hear this. No, it's not the usual doom. Not the same tired song of lost bodies and missed reps. Not this time. The name hits. Like a thunderclap, Ahmed Hassan. Yeah, that rookie edge rusher, the 6th-round steal we all kind of hoped would pan out, but kept under the radar behind the bigger household names on our defensive front. Monday practice had us sweating bullets. He gets rolled up on his leg during the rush, and suddenly the chatter's lit up like the Fox Theater marquee. Could be another patch of ice we can't afford on this D-line that's already one bad hit. Away from chaos. Alan McNeil's nursing something. Josh Paschal's off the field. Mekhi Wingo's limping around like he took a shot from the old Joe Louis arena boards. So naturally, every snag feels like a potential chip in the armor. But then Dan Campbell, our head coach, who wears his heart like an old leather jacket, puts it out front. Ahmed should be out there today, he says. Just a little scare. That's not just good news. That's a lifeline for the Detroit trenches. Now, here's why this matters at the gut level of our defensive scheme. Ben Johnson loves what Hassan brings: relentless edge pressure with a blend of run stopping, grit, and enough quickness to keep opposing quarterbacks looking over their shoulder before they can nod to the wideouts. In 2 preseason games, Ahmed's logged 6 tackles, bringing a presence that helps balance our front between power and speed. A crucial tweak for a defense that can't just survive, but needs to dominate if this team's going to make a leap. After last year's heartbreak, coming off a 6th-round pick, this kid's punching way above his weight already. And with the green light to get back on the field at practice with the Dolphins, who are no joke. By the way, he's about to stake his claim on snap counts that could shift the depth chart in real time. And there's something deeper here. The soul of Detroit wrapped up in Hassan's rebound. Remember the grit of Orlovsky's safety that pulled us through the heat? The tough shake-off of Calvin's retirement? The silent roar from Barry's last yard? Every little piece we patch back into this defense ripples through the locker room, reminding us all we're not just building a team. We're trying to reclaim that relentless Detroit spirit. Picture this. Locker room right after the news. Breaks. Pass rushers chuckling. Hassan sneaking a sly grin, while a veteran edge rusher leans over and whispers, "Hey, man, don't roll that ankle again, or I'm putting you in the penalty box next game." It's dry humor, sure, but also the razor-sharp focus of a team trying to hold on to every sliver of momentum. The Lions are gearing up to show the base on Saturday at Ford Field against the Dolphins. A real test for this hardened, but battered defense. If Hassan's back for that, it doesn't just patch a hole in the lineup. It changes how Ben Johnson can scheme around our edge pressure. Runs get funneled one way, the QB's scramble lanes shrink, and we shore up the line of scrimmage. Like a steel trap, a must if we're going to finally crack through the playoffs and silence that date with last season's disappointment. But here's the kicker. What if Hassan's quick return forces a shakeup? Paschal and Wingo are nursing bumps, but what happens if Hassan's minutes explode, forcing tough calls on the depth chart? Does that push some veterans into rotation? Limbo? And what if this sparks a domino on the cap sheet, shoving the Lions into a hard choice ahead of the season's grind? And with Terry and Arnold still sidelined, that means even more eyes are going to be locked on this young edge rusher Can. He be the spark to ignite a defense that dreams of clawing its way back. Does this change how the Dolphins plan their attack when we face off now, knowing Detroit's edge just got sharper? The ice is thin on Detroit's defensive pond, but the cracks might just be starting to seal. If Hassan's back on the ice come Saturday, the story's only just begun. And from here, in this city of hard knocks and harder pride, one thing's clear: the Lions aren't going down quietly. Not now. Not ever. The question isn't whether we'll fight. It's who's next to step up and take their shot when the weight of the city rides on every snap. We'll see who rises when the dust settles at Ford Field, because in Detroit, the fight always finds you. Lions Nation, we're not just betting on a comeback. We're holding our breath for the moment we finally break through the noise. And that moment might just be walking through Ford Field's tunnel tomorrow. Hassan's return isn't just a tweak in the rotation. If he shows even a semblance of the relentless edge pressure he flashed in those preseason moments, it's a seismic shift, one that could redefine our entire defensive identity. In Detroit, we've seen the lozo. We've seen the chaos of 0 to 16, the heartbreak of playoff heartbreaks, and the silent roar of legends like Barry Sanders, who made us believe miracles were possible, and this feels like another one looming. On the horizon, if only we can keep the cracks sealed just a little longer. That sixth-round steal, overlooked by everyone except a few black and blue-collar insiders, is suddenly the wild card we pray will turn the tide, especially as Wingo and Pascal nurse injuries that threaten to unravel what little depth we had at crucial moments. No one's more aware of the stakes than Dan Campbell, who's emphasized grit over gloss, but even his relentless spirit has to consider the cap implications of rushing Hassan back, risking a long-term setback for a short-term gain, because if we get that full-blown edge rush, every snap changes. And here's where it deepens. The upcoming game against Miami isn't just a test. It's the moment we crown whether Detroit's defense is finally ready for prime time, or if the cracks will swallow us whole. Every time Hassan lines up, it'll feel like the city's own pride hinges on that snap, not just because of the plays he might make, but because of what it symbolically stands for: resilience, hope, and finally a step toward redemption from the ghost of last season's heartbreak. That wild card game where everything slipped away and left us wondering if the fight was still in us. The locker room humor, that dry comment about not pulling a hammy again, masked the nervous energy bubbling underneath, because in Detroit, we don't just fight for wins. We fight for identity, for respect, for proving that the grit, the scars, and the heartbreak have all led us to this moment, waiting on one kid's comeback to flip the entire script. What makes it even more electric is that the Dolphins, a team with its own ambitions and elite talent, will surely tweak their assault when they see Hassan on the field, knowing full well that if this kid can pressure the quarterback even partway as he did in preseason, it'll funnel their offense into tight lanes, force bad throws, and unlock the chaos that Campbell's always dreamed about. Still, vulnerability lurks. Pascal and Wingo might be banged up, and the Cap's already whispering promises of tough decisions ahead. Do we push our chips in? Or do we start juggling the roster and cap sheet in a game of chess only the NFL could orchestrate? The sideline. Banner veterans ribbing Hassan about not rolling that ankle again hints at the tension and humor of a team on the brink, balancing chaos and control, fighting to keep the Detroit spirit alive. Because if this kid, this sixth-round diamond in the rough, can seize that moment, it's more than just a game changer. It's a statement that Detroit's grit isn't just folklore, but a living, breathing force about to be unleashed. That fear, that uncertainty, those doubts hidden behind tight-lipped smiles in Chippewa Valley are about to collide with raw, unstoppable hope, and the question lies there, hanging in the air like a Detroit thunderstorm. Will Hassan light the fuse to our defensive awakening, or will the weight of the moment crush him before he even gets a chance? Now, as the team deliberates who's next to fill that last crucial roster spot, the real game begins because whoever steps up under that spotlight could redefine everything we fought for, could tip the scales and the lines, battered, but unbowed, are watching, waiting, ready to set fire to this season's chapter from the very first snap, with the city's fire inside them and no one ready to let this moment slip away.